Yeah.
Let's get it.
Running Back Nation. Sixers sickos. What is going on? Haven't been live for a minute. I brought someone with me, man. Mike Sports Vibes. Mike, do your wait, let me do my intro, then you do your intro. Hold on, what's my intro? Run it back Philly, no frauds, no fanboys. Never had an intro. That was not an intro. That was a figment of your imagination. Do your intro.
Mike Sports Vibes. Thank you for vibing with me.
Yeah. Quick story. I was searching through the I think when the Sixers were signing Yabas, and I came across your video, and I clicked on it, and I was like, yo, who is this dude, man? This dude's got like, so he's got some emphasis, he's got some personality, he's got, and I was like, I hit him up, I was like, yo, I just came across your channel, and he was like, I've been a subscriber to your channel for a long time, bro. I called into your show before. I'm like, oh shit, my bad. But nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I said, let's do a Sixers preview stream midway through September as we approach the season. It can't come soon enough. We got to get this out of the way, though. You cover the Sixers and the Minnesota Vikings. Explain that real quick in a nutshell. What the hell is going on there?
You see the Adrian Peterson jersey. So this is how it happened. I watched the Eagles back in the day when they had Brian Dawkins and, Jermaine Trotter. But I just fell in love with the purple and gold because of that. The greatest wide receiver of all time, number 84, Randy Moss. That's just my opinion. People would say Jerry Rice. They might say Terrell Owens or Larry Fitzgerald. But Moss was just something different. And I just was like, ever since I seen him play, I was just like, yo, that's my squad. So
you know what I think? I think
everything else besides football, but Randy Moss made me a Viking fan.
I think Randy Moss was probably the most talented receiver ever. There was parts of his career where he didn't have the work ethic that he should have had. If he did, it would have been no chance. He would have been light years ahead of everybody. Yeah. So you're not from Philly.
Yeah, I live right outside of Philly.
Okay, so you're close. You're probably closer to Philly than I am. I'm in Hershey, PA, about 2 hours away from Philly.
Yeah, I live right outside.
So yeah, the first order of business. By the way, thank you all for being here. Rock with us for about an hour up in here. Be active in the chat. Throw things in the chat. Ask questions. Hot takes, whatever it is. We'll probably take some callers on the Discord. The second half of this show. But hit the like button too. Yeah, that's the last thing I want to say. First thing we're gonna get into, speaking of Philly, is the Sixers are staying in Philly. You know what I mean? So, for me, I don't live in the city of Philadelphia, so as far as the politics of the Chinatown thing and all that stuff, I can't really have an opinion on it. But the Sixers couldn't not be a Philadelphia. If you're Philadelphia, you got to play in Philadelphia. I feel like it's one of those sports towns that's sports are everything in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? So if the arena wasn't in Philly, that would just be kind of crazy to me. That would be like the New York Yankees not being in New York, or the Knicks, The Giants, nobody cares about the Giants, so that doesn't matter. But the Sixers had to stay in Philly. And so here it is from the mayor of Philadelphia. As your mayor, I'm speaking from City Hall office. It's a very important announcement. We have come to an agreement to ensure that our Sixers are staying home. I wholeheartedly believe this is the right deal for the people of Philadelphia. To the people of Chinatown, please know that I hear you. We have the best Chinatown in the United States, and I am committed to working together to support it. I'll have a lot more to say in a formal presentation coming soon. I have hung out in Chinatown before, a little bit late night, like 3 a.m. One of my boys was showing me his favorite spot, but that's the only thing I know about Chinatown. They have good food at 5 o'clock in the morning if you're still up. What's your take on all of this? Because what I think is Josh Harris was playing hardball, and he acted like he was going to take a deal to go to New Jersey just to put pressure on the Philly and make them, agree to give him what he wants, which is an arena downtown.
Be honest with you, I was disgusted when I heard about it. Honestly, I'm just like, what are we going to call them? New Jersey Sixers? I just thought it was just stupid. Like, it was just stupid to even think about. Like, I don't want to go across the bridge to go see my favorite team. Like, the Philadelphia teams need to stay in Philly. It's like the Eagles going to New Jersey. It's like That wouldn't even make sense. So it's just like, why would you? I think it had to do with what they had, like the cool waterfront. It did look nice. The pictures looked decent. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. I was just like, yo, that could kind of look kind of cool. But I don't know, man. You got to stay in Philly, man. When it's everything Philly, got to stay in Philly. That's just how I feel. Like it wouldn't even sound right.
Yeah.
Look
And
right or sound right.
Jersey tried to win him over with a potential $400 million tax break, which I thought Josh Harris is taking that. You know, if you can't, he's taking the money. You almost had us, Jersey. Yeah. I ain't gonna hold you. You had us in the first half. You didn't win. We're staying in Philly. So there's the news on that. That's exciting. I do like the Sixers in the sports complex, which is they're not gonna be there anymore.
Right.
Which is, kind of annoying. I like to go down there and you can be the Phillies, the Eagles, everybody's right there, Xfinity Live Center, all that stuff. But by 2031, they will be downtown Philly in the brand new arena. So there's that.
Staying.
Yeah, I'm just happy they're staying too. Charles Barkley had a take on it where he was like, that can't happen. He's like, no, Charles Barkley himself was like, I'm never going to Camden, New Jersey to watch the Philadelphia 76ers. That sounds ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, so there's that.
Crazy.
Philadelphia 76ers remain in Philadelphia. No more Camden, Jersey, Sixers memes and things like that. This just came out not too long ago. Kyle Lowry announces this will be his final NBA season. Kyle Lowry says, this will be my final NBA season. After reflection, I've decided this year with the 76ers will be my last. I'm giving everything to help this team win. Let's make it special. So there's just another reason for this season to just be on a different level as far as vibes go. You have hometown Philly kid gets to go back to Philly and retire as a Philadelphia 76er, man. That's just another thing there. What do you think about Kyle Lowry? Like last year he had a lot left in the tank, but burned out a little.
I got mixed feelings about Kyle Lowry. I like that he's from Philly, but like in my opinion, this is just when we played against the Knicks, it just seemed like he didn't bring enough against the Knicks in the playoffs. It just seemed like there was something missing. It was a little bit older, but when Cameron Payne was playing, it seemed like he brought more energy. He brought more fire. He was playing better defense. He was scoring. It just looked so much smoother, the offense. So I don't know if he's going to, because I mean, this all sounds good, but I'm trying to win a dang championship. You know what I mean? So if he's not good enough to play next to Tyrese Maxiell for I don't know how many minutes, I don't even want to think about it, to be honest with you. But Nick Nurse, I understand this is the guy that you rock with and you won a championship with. But if he is not good enough, you have to make a educated change.
We're talking about you're referencing Kyle Lowry starting next to Tyrese Maxiell like he did last year, which was my prediction last year. People thought the prediction was crazy, and it happened because I was like, Nick Nurse loves this guy, right, and he loves veterans. He's going to start him, and he ended up being the starting point guard. And I like the dynamic, but I think I agree. If he doesn't have enough, he can't be starting if he doesn't have enough. I think what happened last year was Kyle Lowry, like again, he's 39 years old. He gave it everything he had. He was playing way too many minutes, and he burned out in the playoffs. And when you're relying on a guy that's 39 and he's gonna just burn out, man. Legs don't work like that when you're 40, bro. You know what I mean? And hamstrings were on fire. And that's why I think, Cameron Payne would come off the bench with a lot more energy. That's just straight fresh legs, I think. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think Nick Nurse has to be smarter with Kyle Lowry and recognize his age,
Right.
And I think that's why he's making this his last year, because last year he gave it all he had, and he was like, damn, I got, the Knicks series, I had nothing left. You know what I mean? I'm tired out here. So, but yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that take, though. I agree with that take. So you were upset at the Cameron Payne exit.
He was all right. I'm just saying, like, just talking about Kyle Lowry, I just think he brought more to the table last season in the playoffs when it counted the most. My whole thing is this, like, first of all, it seemed like the offseason is taking so freaking long, bro. Like, I miss talking about the Sixers with just talking about what's going on game to game, and it just seems like it's just taking way too long. And I think it's because us diehard Sixer fans know that we have a true contender, like we have a true complete team in general. So it's like our third option was supposed to be Tobias Harris, right? Because of the money and all that. But our third option really was Kelly Oubre Jr. He was the third best player on the team.
Yo, I'll never forget. Not to cut you off. I'll never forget the one guy. I'll never forget the one guy that called the show when Embiid and Maxey were both out, and he was like, "How you the third option without the first two options? You're still the third option." Like, I'll never forget that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like for your third best option, and this I mean this for no disrespect, because everybody knows if you're a diehard Sixer fan, last season Kelly Oubre Jr. was balling when he first started playing with us. He was balling, man, before he had that injury. I don't even know what happened, car crash, whatever it was. He was balling. He was averaging like 20-something points a game. And then when Joel Embiid went down, he was our second best player because Joel Embiid was out for a few months or whatever. So it's just like he's good, but he can't be your third best player on a championship caliber team. That's just my opinion. And now we got a true third best player. So I'm happy we got that guy, PG. So
yeah, absolutely. You can't, the Tobias Harris thing is just ridiculous. And good luck in Detroit. I absolutely am still shocked that you got another $52 million. It is what it is. But yeah, you're absolutely right. When Tobias wasn't showing up, you were relying on Kelly Oubre, who you signed at the end of the season, the end of the offseason, literally last minute. You didn't even know what he was going to be. So Kelly was playing way above what anybody thought he was going to play. And then you're relying on him in the playoffs to create a shot and things like that. And that's just realistically not going to work. This team looks so much deeper than last season. And when like our level of excitement is because of that. People on the outside, they'll right away be like, "Oh, you say that every year. You say that every year," Hardcore like Phillies, Eagles fans that casually watch the Sixers, they'll be like, "I'll believe it when they get out of the second round." Yeah, they say that every year. But we really believe it because we're watching. We watched an offseason full of signings that we haven't seen, I don't think, in the process era at all. You know what I mean? So, I guess we can.
Ask a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
In your opinion, since you've been a Sixer fan, is this the best overall team on paper that you have seen since you've been a Sixer fan? I'm talking about the Allen Iverson days and everything. Like, since you've been a fan watching the team, is this the best overall team on paper? Because we don't know about the team chemistry. We don't know how things is going to rock out during the season. They have to have good team chemistry going on paper. For me, man, I think this might be the best team.
Yeah,
and
I think
ain't talking about injuries. We taking injuries out. I'm gonna be optimistic. We're gonna think that we're gonna be healthy for the whole entire season. If we're healthy, I feel like this is the best team that I have seen.
Yeah, I think so too. And the team that people will point to right away is 2019-20 Jimmy Butler team. But for me, this team on paper makes more sense fit wise. You have a clear cut like point guard, shooting guard, playmaker. You have a clear cut wing. You have obviously a clear-cut center. You got three pieces that are just dynamic and should fit together theoretically. The Jimmy Butler team was like loaded with talent up top, but realistically, Jimmy Butler doesn't spread the floor very well. Tobias Harris should, but shoots like 3 threes a game, And you had Ben Simmons at the end of the day. That was inevitable. The collapse was inevitable. It doesn't matter how much talent you had on that team. Your point guard was a point guard that wouldn't shoot. It was not going to work. And really, in the Raptors game where Kawhi hits the 4-bounce shot or whatever, they didn't have a point guard. They were the whole second half, like all of Ben Simmons' career, they're trying to pull somebody off the bench or whatever to play point guard because he can't do it. He won't do it. And J.J. Redick essentially was your point guard running dribble handoffs, turning the ball over at half court in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, this team makes a lot much more sense. There's not a player on this team. And another thing outside fans will always say, who's going to be the scapegoat this year? You know what I mean? There's always a player we run out of Philly, right? I don't see one on this team that I think is a fraud. I think there's always been Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, the end of James Harden tenure here. I was calling out what I thought was fraudulence. I don't see a player on this roster that I feel that way about right now.
Right. Because like that's another question. Like, all right, we know the big three, and let me just say this: it was a blessing in disguise that Ben Simmons did everything that he did, quitting on the team and all that. Because if it wasn't for him doing that, and say Doc Rivers, I'm glad he's not our head coach, but Tyrese Maxiell is Tyrese Maxiell because he has that opportunity to be Tyrese Maxiell. You know, when Ben Simmons was on the team, that took a lot away from Tyrese. So now we have a budding. Some people think Tyrese Maxiell's already a superstar. He's at least a budding superstar. He is a star. You know what I mean? So, like, that was a blessing in disguise. And, like, yeah.
I completely agree, and it happened to him twice. I really want to talk about Tyrese Maxiell specifically, and there's a video of him hitting 14 step-back threes in a row in the gym. I think that's going to be the second main topic of this video, actual expectations for Tyrese Maxiell after I drop the Game Time sponsor. But first, CJ Sixers talk with a super chat. Could Ricky be the sixth man, 20 minutes a game, 10 points per game? Yeah, another player that I thought I couldn't figure out why he didn't play in the playoffs last year. At least throw him on the floor for 5 minutes, especially when you were struggling against a very physical team. Like, you should have at least put him out there against the Knicks and let him truck somebody, you know, under the go get 5 fouls real quick or something. Like, you needed some kind of physicality. I thought Ricky Council should have at least been on the floor for a couple minutes in the Knicks series to see what he could do. Nurse didn't do it. I think we all expect him to have a much bigger part of the rotation this season.
Yeah, he's a great coach, but I think you said it. I listened to one of your videos and you said it's starting to feel kind of like, not exactly like Doc Rivers, but it's starting to feel kind of like Doc Rivers, where he's just like stubborn in his ways.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yo, play your young, talented players. How do you know you're going to need them if you don't use them in the regular season? So if the playoffs, and we have, like, hopefully nothing happens, say we get an injury, and you have these young, talented players that haven't played all season long, and then you need them for the playoffs, they're going to be looking, I mean, you're not going to know what you have. So you got to play your young talent. You got to give them opportunity. What's the one bull that was on the Mavericks, the rookie center? Lively?
Yeah, Derek Lively, yep.
He's a rookie, and he was balling.
He was
For the
balling.
most part, he was balling.
Yeah.
You got to give the young talent, you got to give your young players opportunity.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it helps that the Mavericks didn't really have a center at all. You know what I mean?
Right,
but
right.
I brought his name up a lot of times talking about this exact thing. I was like, you know, you don't know what somebody 19, 20 years old is capable of. Just because they're a rookie doesn't mean they can't step up to the plate. At least throw him out there and see what he can do. I think Nick Nurse he definitely has stubbornness, but I think all great coaches do have stubbornness. You know what I mean? A lot of times throughout their entire coaching career, they've been the smartest guy in the room, so it's probably hard for them to step back a lot and be like, maybe my decision right here isn't the smartest one. Let me listen to someone else. So they're always going to be stubborn like that, but he has a lot more just creativity, and
I agree.
He's a lot less Doc Rivers than Doc Rivers, but he definitely has.
Let me just clarify that he's way better than Doc Rivers. He makes a lot of adjustments. Doc Rivers don't make no adjustments.
Oh yeah. The first thing I heard him say last year was that I loved was he was like, we try things and if it doesn't work, we crumble it up and throw it in the trash. I'm like, finally, somebody that can say that didn't work. We're done trying that. Like, Doc would just run the same thing over and over until he got fired, man.
Hot take real quick. This is what I feel. This is what I'm just thinking, because this comment is perfect. Like, when you're talking about him potentially be the sixth man, that could happen, but he has to get the opportunity. But going back to the playoffs, right? If you replace Tobias Harris and have Ricky Council in his place, do you think we get out of that round? Do you think we get past the stinking Knicks? Of all the teams we lose to the stinking Knicks. Do you think we would have got past them if Ricky Council played more minutes than Tobias Harris' $40 million self, giving us 0 points in the elimination?
0. What an exit. Like, what an exit, bro. 0 points. He didn't attempt a single three the entire game in 34 minutes.
Man, you can do that. $40 million.
He straight up quit. It is unbelievable. He actually quit.
Worse than Ben Simmons.
I don't know, man. I don't
know. Is that worse than Ben? No, because at least he played, right?
Man, I don't know, bro. He morphed into Ben Simmons at least in that game 6. You know what I mean? He refused to do anything in that game. Would we have beat the Knicks if Ricky Council was playing instead of Tobias? Probably not. I think the Knicks were they were so deep and they were so physical and they were killing us on the boards. I mean, Josh Hart had 18 rebounds in one game. The guy's a normal size NBA player. He's like 6'5", isn't he? Like he had 18 rebounds in a game. 6'4".
6'4". He out rebound every single player.
That's straight hustle.
Sixers, man.
That's straight hustle.
Like, that's what I was saying. Like someone left in the comments on one of my videos and was like, "Yo, it's not about height. It's about just heart and desire to get it down."
Dennis Rodman's 6'7". And
it don't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. I was just like, yo. And then when Joel Embiid went to the bench and you put Paul Reed in, it's even worse because Hartenstein's getting all the off. Well, he's not on the Knicks no more. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just happy of what we did to replace Paul Reed. And I like Paul Reed in the mud, but I'm so glad we got
Isaiah Hartenstein got a payday because of the Sixers. We made that dude look like a stud. Like, it's Isaiah Hartenstein. And his floater was money for some reason. He couldn't miss. But yeah, rebounding is all how much you want it. You know what I mean? Like I said, Dennis Rodman was 6'7", and he led the league in rebounding like 8 years in a row. He has multiple 30 rebound games. The guy was, because he was a maniac. He was like, I'm getting the ball. You got to kill me before I get, I'm getting the ball. You know what I mean? Right. So I love that I think on paper this season we have players like that are gonna, Kelly Oubre is one of those guys. He'll run through a brick wall, dude. Like nothing. You might block the shot, but he's trying it. Like, we finally have guys I feel like that are just going to go out there and put it all out there, dive on the floor, take a hard foul, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But would we have beat? I don't think we. Yeah, I think the Knicks were just too deep, and it would have been more fun watching Ricky Council than Tobias Harris.
Yeah, we would have had a better chance at least. We probably would have never won because even though Joel Embiid was averaging 33 points, I believe 12 rebounds and like 6 assists on one leg, it still wasn't enough. You know what I mean? And Tyrese Maxiell was doing his thing as well. It just wasn't enough because, Kelly is your third best player. No disrespect. So
yeah, I think they got a lot better chance this upcoming season, man. And what is it, like 30 some days until opening game?
Preseason is like
October 1st. Preseason is October 1st.
Can't wait, man.
October 7th. Training camp is October 1st to the 5th. And then first preseason game is October 7th.
Right.
And I forget where that is. But yeah, we're going to talk about Tyrese Maxiell and some other things, and we'll just read the chat and things like that. Right after this, this is brought to you by Game Time Ticket App. Thank you to Game Time for continuing to sponsor the channel. This is how Game Time Ticket App works. You go on gametime.co, you type in Eagles, for example, you click on Philadelphia Eagles, and you go to New Orleans Saints this upcoming Sunday, 12 o'clock in New Orleans. And what Game Time does for you is they sort through all of the tickets for you so you don't have to. They straight up tell you what the cheapest deal is, $155. If you only got a certain amount of money, you want to go to a game, you go to Game Time, they found you the cheapest ticket. You don't have to search all these Facebook Marketplace, all this stuff to try to find the cheapest ticket. Bang, $155. They give you the best deal, $255. They show you the view from the seat right there on the website. So that's what separates Game Time from other ticket apps. They do the work for you. You just go there, they tell you what the best deal is, and you buy the ticket. You know what I mean? There's a part of this that I have to say. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets and NFL tickets and all other tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you to Game Time for sponsoring the channel. Who do the Vikings play this Sunday?
The Texans. We're going 3-0, baby. We're going 3-0.
3-0? What are the Texans right now?
Texans are 2-0.
CJ Stroud,
two best undefeated teams. Let's go.
Bro, let's get off Sixers. Let's get off Sixers topic for 1 second. How in the world did anybody watch CJ Stroud at Ohio State and draft Bryce Young number 1?
You know what's crazy?
And I remember when it was happening, I'm like, what? This dude.
Look, Bryce Young, let me say this, man. I keep telling, I was trying to tell people, I said, yo, CJ Stroud looked so good. Everybody was hyping up Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
It was hyping up Young. But my whole, CJ Young was that bull. So, I don't know. What's the other quarterback? There was a couple other quarterbacks. I
only remember the race between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. That's all I remember.
Bryce Young is, Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't understand it. I think it's because he went to Ohio State and people were just like, Ohio State quarterbacks don't plan out.
He was cooking.
But
he had games where
don't,
he had games where he had 500 yards at halftime and would sit the
but
second
they
half.
think it's more of like their system, you know.
Yeah.
It's more like their system. So they think
Justin Fields, right? Maybe it was the Justin Fields effect. They were like, nah, we're not going to touch an Ohio State quarterback. Yeah, I get that for sure. I
think he's definitely he's probably a superstar right now, man. Like
he took a team from bad to good right away.
Yeah, the Texans was like they didn't even make the playoffs. I think they only got won 3 games, and then when they draft this quarterback, he's getting them to the playoffs and winning his first playoff game. So it's like it's crazy, man. But I think it's more like what's around you too. It's like a lot of these quarterbacks don't do good because the team is not built around them, and then they don't have the right coach around them. I think there's so many factors for success when it comes to, especially these quarterbacks that you just throw in right away.
100%.
Throw them in right away. You don't have the right you don't have a okay offensive line. You don't have a running game. You don't have this and that. You don't have no wide receivers or tight ends. You're asking for disasters. And then if you don't have a coach that's like supportive and you don't have a good quarterback coach, it's hard for these quarterbacks to do good.
Absolutely.
But like for my quarterback, Sam Darnold, they said he was a bust. He got drafted by the Jets. Then he was on the 49ers or some other team. He comes to the Vikings. My coach, Kevin O'Connell, got this dude playing like a throwing 97-yard touchdown passing to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, it's a lot about offensive coordinators and quarterback coaches, all that kind of stuff. All right, let's get back to it. That was my bad. We went a little bit off topic talking about. By the way, Jalen Reagor got released by the Patriots. So the Eagles drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. Never forget that. But we're back. We're back to talking Sixers. All right, we're not talking about how the Eagles can't draft. They did better after the Jalen Reagor draft, but they did miss out on Justin Jefferson. Tyrese Maxiell in this video, 14 step back threes in a row, and if you watched it with volume, the dude's calling out moves. He's like left cross behind the back, and he does it. He's like left cross behind the back, he does it. He's like left step back, and he does it. So he's pulling moves as the guy's saying them. It's totally not planned, and he hit 14 in a row, and yeah, it's open gym, but you see a lot of guys miss some of those shots. You know what I mean? Like that's I just don't think people are ready for what Tyrese Maxiell is going to do this upcoming season. And when he was a rookie coming off the bench, I thought he should have played in that Atlanta series more. I remember Doc Rivers randomly in Game 7 playing 40-year-old George Hill for no reason. But way back then, I always said, like, there were so many people that would be like, he's not going to be a star. He's going to be an okay player. He's not going to be a star. I was always like, how do you guys think you can predict the future? That doesn't make any sense. You can't look at somebody that's 20 years old and say that they're not going to become something. That's just setting yourself up to look wrong if it happens. And then after his first offseason, he went from a 29% three-point shooter to 42.5% the next year. And I was like, holy hell, if somebody improved that much in one offseason at 20 years old, what's he capable of? And last year, 26-point per game all-star. And I remember I said he's going to be a 25, 26-point per game all-star. People told me I was crazy then. Bang, 26-point per game all-star. Now I'm saying Tyrese Maxiell can be literally on MVP lists this upcoming season. I don't think anybody on this team is going to win MVP because I think they have too many high-level scoring options now that it would be a player that takes a less talented roster somewhere. But I think he could at least be recognized as an MVP level player this upcoming season because of course, Joel Embiid takes pressure off of him. Now you got Paul George taking pressure off of him, and he's the fastest guy in the league. I'm sorry, I'm putting him against who's out there, the Kings. You know what I mean? Who's the point guard of the Kings?
What's his name? Fox.
Yeah, I'm putting him against De'Aaron Fox. I'll put him one-on-one against De'Aaron Fox. I'm taking Maxiell. He's the fastest guy in the league, and taking less pressure off of him, and he just had 26 points per game last year. I don't know, bro. I think he's going for 30. I think he's going for 30 points a game. If he continues what he did in that Knicks series, people are going to be shocked at what they see from Tyrese Maxiell.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. You know what I mean? I just feel like there's, like you said, there's just so much talent on his team now. So I don't know if he's going. I don't know. I could see him averaging 30, but I don't know. It's going to be hard with someone like Joel Embiid and then Paul George. I don't know. I can see them all averaging like mid-20s this year, man. Like I honestly can see them all averaging like mid-20s. You might see some games where Tyrese Maxiell going to get you a 50-piece nugget. You might see some games where Joel Embiid gets you a 50-piece nugget, and maybe even Paul George giving you a 40-piece nugget. But I don't know about anybody. I don't know, man. It could go either way because now that Joel Embiid, you know what I mean, has a Paul George and a Tyrese, he could average 30. Any of these players can average 30, honestly. True. You're right. You're right. It's pick your poison. What you want to do?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Yeah, you could be totally right that there's too much talent on the team for him to do that. But I just feel like he's the one that's going to continue to ascend. You know what I mean? I just feel like that. And I mean, yeah, even if he doesn't, who cares? You got three guys that can give you 40 or 50. Speaking of Paul George, what do you think of Paul George at this stage of his career? Because you said Joel can give you 50. You said Maxey can give you 50. You said Paul George can give you 40, which means you did put him slightly on a lower tier. He still speaks of himself as a superstar. I don't think Paul George necessarily thinks he's a tier less than either of these two guys, or maybe he does. I don't know. What do you think of Paul George at this stage of his career? Like a high-level role player, or do you think he really is still like a superstar?
He ain't no superstar. I'm going to say that. I don't think he's a superstar, but I feel like he's still a star. I feel like he's still got a lot of game. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, I'm going to keep it real. I didn't really want him as much. I was more leaning towards marketing, but I am happy that we got him. I was leaning towards somehow, how can we get marketing?
Oh, yeah, you couldn't get marketing.
Couldn't get marketing, you know what I mean? And then I was leaning towards, who else was available?
Zach LaVine?
Brandon Ingram, and some of him. Yeah. But I like this move. I like Paul George. I think he's a perfect piece. We didn't have to give up no first-round picks, so we still got a bright future with the first-round picks. We just had to pay him a lot of money. I think he's good. When it comes to where is he at when it comes to the best two-way players in the game right now? Is he top or best players in the NBA? Is he top 20? Is he top 25? Like, I still feel like he's a star. I still think he can get you between 18 to 25 points a game. I like it, but
I think he's top 15. I think he's top 15. Yeah, I think he is. Last year, he was the best catch and shoot 3-point shooter in the NBA at 44%, something like that, off the catch. He still shot 41% total from three. He shoots 8+ 3-pointers a game, and every time I go back to comparing him to Tobias Harris, I mean, higher percentage on triple the volume. It's just insane. Paul George really his 3-point shooting, I think, isn't really talked about enough. You know what I mean? Once I saw those numbers and it's like 8.3 attempts per game, I'm like, damn, bro, this guy's getting up 9 threes a game at 41%. That's lethal next to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxiell.
Right, and I always have respect for Paul George's game. I always got a lot of respect for two-way players. Like, no disrespect to players that are just all offense, but I put the two-way players, especially the stars that are two-way players, above the stars that are just all offense most of the time. Like for instance, I know people are big fans of Luka. Luka is a superstar. Luka is that bull, but the man plays no defense. I will put someone above him that's a two-way player, like a top. Who's a top player? Gosh, I gotta think off the top of my head, but like I put a two-way player, a elite two-way player over him. He might not make the 60-point games or 70-point games that he be doing and these step back threes and all that, but he's going to play some defense. And I feel like championships are won. You got to score, but I feel like championships are won on that defensive side of the ball, even in basketball. You know what I mean? Especially when it's when the game is on the line and the other team has to score 3 or 2 to tie the game up or to surpass your score to win. Defense wins championships, man. So I just yeah, man. I think Paul George, to be honest with you, is definitely, I don't know about 15. Who you got it? So you said top 15. Who you
Yeah, I
got
wanted
in
to
front
see. There's a Hoops Hype list that I was talking about the other day that they have the top 15, and now I can't find it. What is his name?
I see Michael Jordan. I was like, hold on, Michael Jordan ain't playing. Like,
I don't remember if they had Paul George in that top 15 or not. Oh, I have it on my Instagram page, actually. I want to see if they had Paul George in that top 15. Here it is.
Like I'm not gonna put Luka over Paul George. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna put Paul George over Luka. But I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, they don't have Paul George in here. They got 13 LeBron James, 14 Steph Curry, 15 Tyrese Maxey, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, John Morant, Domantas Sabonis, Damian Lillard, Zion Williamson, Paolo Banchero, De'Aaron Fox at 24. Yeah, Hoops Hype doesn't have Paul George.
Tyrese Maxey?
15 on this Hoops Hype list.
Where's Joel?
Joel is number 5.
To who?
Behind Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, SGA, and Giannis. Joel Embiid healthy is number 1.
I'm tired of this Giannis stuff. Like, I respect Giannis. I respect him, but I just feel like Joel Embiid's a better player overall, man. I know Giannis won a championship. I know.
Well, that's the thing about this Hoops Hype list. I don't know if they're talking about injury potential because they got John Morant at 19. I'm like, John Morant healthy is 19? You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, like Joel at 5. If we're talking healthy, Joel Embiid's the best player in the league. I don't care what anybody says. Every time he's healthy, mid-season, November, December, January, the dude shatters records. He puts out stat lines that nobody's done before. He has 58, 17, 9, and 8. Like, he's completely unstoppable midway through the season. Then he drops 70 on Wemby. Everybody acts like that's not a big deal. Wemby's blocking everybody's shot out here. He's blocking everybody. Olympics, doesn't matter who. And Joel drops 70 face-to-face, one-on-one. Joel Embiid healthy is the best player in the league. Like, the offense, defense, everything. I don't care what anybody says. But yeah, they don't have.
My whole thing though is like, all right, so now since we got Paul George and we have a complete team, I just don't want all the pressure on Joel Embiid to win a game against a scrub of a team like the Pistons. Why does Joel Embiid have to score 50 points to beat a team like the Pistons? So now, since we have a complete team, hopefully this limits his chances of getting injured because it's not so much wear and tear on his body throughout the season. You know what I mean? You can give it to Paul George a lot more and Tyrese, and you got good role players like Caleb Martin and, Kelly and possibly Eric Gordon that can get some buckets for you, or Reggie Jackson or whoever. You know what I mean? I'm just hoping that Joel Embiid doesn't feel like he has to score 35 points a game. Like, I don't want to see that. I'd rather see him chill out a little bit.
He actually said that
when it counts. You know what I mean?
He said that. There's a quote of him literally saying that. Like, I feel like I'm not gonna have to put the team on my back every single night. And I don't know if he mentioned that keeping him healthy. The thing about Joel Embiid is, like, I can't figure out if more work, less work, what it is. It seems like he gets hurt no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, there's always something fluky, dislocated thumb ligament, like random shit like that. What was it the one year Markelle Fultz like shouldered him in the face around a screen or something? There's always something. So Nick Nurse played him more minutes, and we were like, that sounds like a bad idea, and he tore his meniscus. But even when he played less minutes and never played a back-to-back and sat all these games, he still got hurt. So I'm like, I don't know how to prevent. I think they've tried every different which way to prevent Joel Embiid's injuries, but I do think it's going to be nice for him to, not have to drop 50 against the Spurs. Well, the Spurs might be a lot better than the Spurs. But against the Wizards, against the Pistons, against whoever, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice that he won't have to. And it got to the point last season where it was like, anytime he sat on the bench, we collapsed. I feel like that's been his whole career.
Oh, man. Hey, so in your opinion, right? Besides Paul George, at least take Paul George out of it, because that's not the number one reason why a lot of people are probably really hyped we got Paul George, because he's a star. But besides him, what is the player that we got this offseason that you're like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad we got him, and he's going to do wonders for our team overall? Because you just talked about when Joel gets on the bench. I'm just. Are you
reading my notes? Are you reading my notes? Because I literally. What is your favorite offseason addition outside of Paul George?
No, I didn't. Good, great minds think alike. You know what I'm saying?
That's wild. But I was going to ask you that. But I'll go first. My favorite addition this offseason, outside of Paul George, is Caleb Martin. And Caleb Martin is a dude that's got he's got a motor. He's going to go 110% all the time. He can catch and shoot the three. He can create his own shot. He can get in the lane and finish at the rim. And I like not just him specifically, but Kelly Oubre and other guys like that. Like, we've gone years with the Sixers where we had guys that could like play defense, but they couldn't shoot the ball. They could shoot the ball, but you never want to see them dribble the ball. You know, Danny Green, right? Like we've had these players that were so one dimensional, and I'd watch these other teams, and I'd see like 19-year-old kids coming off the bench for the Thunder or something, and be like, why? Where are those players for us? Why don't we have Jalen Williams? You know, like I couldn't figure out why the Sixers couldn't get these just basketball players. And I used to say, like, my whole life growing up, you'd go to the court and you dribble, pass, and shoot. How do we have so many guys that can't do one of those three things? So it's so nice to have guys like Caleb Martin now on the team who they just look like real high-level NBA role players that can do a little bit of everything. And he hates the Boston Celtics. And I love that he hates the Boston Celtics. They called him the Celtics killer when the Miami Heat upset the Boston Celtics 2 years ago in the playoffs. He had like a 30-point game to ice it. Yeah, I'm very excited about Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin. See, I'm about to cheat a little bit. So, look, I'm going to say Andre Drummond. That's my guy because, like, oh, my goodness. I ain't trying to come at Paul Reed, man. I really ain't. But I got to keep it real. Man. Like, he was just looking bad, man, getting cooked on both sides of the ball. It was just bad. So, like, getting a backup center like Andre Drummond, I feel like, and it's like the rebounding for us is the biggest weakness. Like, besides having a replacement for Tobias and having a complete team, rebounding is like our kryptonite. So we got a backup center, which is excellent, and he's very good at rebounding. And I just feel like, and he plays solid defense as well. So I think him is like my number one. It was Caleb Martin. You got my guy. But I think Drummond is definitely something that slept on. I feel like we need to talk about him a little bit more, Sixer fans, because we know when Joel Embiid goes to the bench, what are we saying to ourselves? How long can he sit on there before they make a run? They go on a 10-point run or something. And then it's just like, dang, then he has to come back and put all his energy and try to get us back into the game or whatever. So it's just like now we have a consistent, we know what he's going to bring. He's going to bring consistency on both sides. Well, I don't know about offensively, but on defense and getting rebounds. He's going to be consistent.
His per 30
offense. One more player I want to say, I want to give a shout out. Well, I don't know. He ain't the same, but I want to say this, man. Eric Gordon. I know people are saying, oh, he's old.
It's a player nobody's talking about for sure.
Man, I just have a feeling like, I don't know what he averaged last season. I think he averaged like 11 points and he shot like 38% from three. But when he gets high, he's a streaky shooter. I just think he's going to do some things for us this upcoming season, man. And we're going to be like excited to have him. I truly feel like he's going to do something for us this season.
Well, yeah, Eric Gordon's definitely, another tested veteran that's been all over the place. He's been in big-time playoff games. He's been on did he win a championship with the Bucks or somebody? I don't remember. No, that was PJ Tucker, actually, I'm thinking of. But
Sixth Man of the Year, right? He was a sixth man. He won that award, right?
Yeah, and if he still has something left in the tank, on top of that, you know Nick Nurse loves veteran guys. So you could see a big role for Eric Gordon, that's for sure. Andre Drummond's rebounds per 36 last season was 18. And that's like, it was like 6 entire rebounds higher than the second place person, who I think was Domantas Sabonis. But rebounds per 36 is out of this world. Like, he was averaging 11 rebounds a game on like 10 minutes off the bench or something, 12 minutes off the bench. So, yeah, I don't think Drummond is... I think people are going to be probably a little bit disappointed at the defense still when the defense around the rim still when Joel Embiid leaves, because I don't think Drummond is very good defending the rim for some reason. But it's still a big body there. That's better than 6'7" Paul Reed. You're right about that. But it's the rebounds, because even if They get to the rim easier than they do with Joel Embiid on the floor. These teams were just getting offensive rebound. At least he's going to get the damn ball when if you force him to miss.
Right. Like last season against the Knicks, man, like when we went against them in the playoffs, it was like every time they shot the ball, it was like, man, I was surprised when we got a defensive rebound. Like that's how bad it was. You see little Josh Hart getting a 6'4", what is he, a shooting guard? Is that what he is? A shooting guard? Like little 6'4" shooting guard getting rebounds over 7-footers and Paul Reed and everybody. It's just like, I don't know, man. Like now it's a change now. Now we got a lot of dogs on this team. So there's no excuses when it comes to us getting rebounds this season. And we got to start in the regular season though. I want to see this dog mentality getting rebounds. This has to be something that starts in the regular season. It can't just be like, oh, we're getting out rebounded every game in the regular season. Then we get to the playoffs. It's just like, oh, we're gonna switch a switch and just be good and get rebounds all of a sudden. So we got to make sure we do this during the regular season.
Facts, absolute facts. Brian Pumper. First of all, bro, nobody Google that name. I know why you're using that name. It's just ridiculous. He says, Yakisoba. Yakisoba is going to be a weapon against the doo-doo Knicks. I think he's talking about Yabaseli.
Oh, how you say his name?
Yabaseli.
It's Yabaseli?
Yabaseli, yep.
I was saying Yubaseli.
Yabaseli. They call him Yabu in Europe.
Yabaseli. So his first name is Gershon, right?
Yeah, Gershon Yabaseli, yep.
Yabaseli. Man, I was jacking his name up. I was hyping.
Well, at least you're closer than this guy. This guy got one letter right. The Y. Yakisoba is going to be a weapon against the doo-doo Knicks. LeBron's fathers were stepping on all their Tims in Madison Square Garden.
What the... Talking about him. How you feel about him, man? Like, all right, and then I know you heard about the news about Marcus Morris going to the Knicks. You know what I mean? What is your opinion on Yabaseli? Like, do you think he's going to start? I know there's rumors that he was supposed to start. Maybe, I don't know. What is the deal with him? What do you think? Is he coming off the bench? What do you think he can bring to the Sixers?
It's hard to tell. I think he's developed a lot since he was in the NBA in 2019 for the Boston Celtics. He doesn't even look like the same player. I did a whole couple of videos on him watching like his old school highlights versus watching his Olympic game and stuff. But it's hard to tell. He hasn't played against NBA talent for a long time. He averaged 10 points a game in the EuroLeague, but again, the EuroLeague is a lot more. There's a lot more like just team ball and ball sharing. There's not as much ISO ball and stuff like that. So like points per game, I think Luka averaged like 16 or 17 a game in the EuroLeague. So the low points per game is really because there's not a whole lot of like ISO ball like there is in the NBA. So you can't really take that into account. It's hard to tell, but just from his like stature and the way that he plays and his 3-point shot, really people don't know this because he didn't shoot it great in the Olympics, but he's like a 40% 3-point shooter over his EuroLeague career. So he's 6'8", 275 pounds. He's literally built like a damn defensive back. He's a monster. And he's a pretty good 3-point shooter. He's aggressive. I mean, he dunked on LeBron James in the Olympics. So he wants it, so he sees an opportunity and he goes for it. He doesn't back down from anything. So I think he has the right size. I think he has the right mentality. I think he has a good 3-point shot. I'm not sure about his rebounding fundamentals. His rebounding numbers aren't high, but I think really he could surprise a lot of people, and he could end up being a starting power forward. Again, I'm not going to put a cap on anybody. There's no reason that I mean, I think it's possible.
Yeah, Gershon Yabaseli, man, I was so hyped, man. Like, drove right past Devin Booker and yammed it on King James. It was beautiful. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. I'm cheering for USA. I'm like, I went crazy. I said, and then he got in LeBron's face and flexed on him. I was like, yo, what? You did that to LeBron James? And I thought LeBron was gonna do something, but LeBron's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, he didn't. He tried to take a charge and like fell back. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, talking about Devin Booker, man, I have so much more respect for his game. Like in the Olympics, he showed a lot, man. Mm-hmm. For me personally, like watching him, I didn't know he's actually a solid defender. Like he was playing pretty good, solid defense. and he was bringing it on the like he's actually. I don't know if
he's better than Jason Tatum, right? He's better than Jason Tatum, right?
Yes, I think so. I think so.
Celtics fans hate when I say that.
I think he's better. I think Jason Tatum. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I feel like Jason Tatum is a very good two-way player, but he's just not consistent, man. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for Jaylen Brown and that built team, you got Drew Holiday giving you 20-something points and like 11 assists with no turnovers and like 10 rebounds. If he didn't have like that team built around him, oh my goodness, they would have wanted to trade his behind because he did not play good in the playoffs. He's just not consistent.
Yeah, he shot like 26% from three. He shot like 35 from the field in the finals.
And that's why Joel said what he said. You know what I mean? If I was shooting like him, the Sixers would have got blown out by like.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's fun. It's fun for me as a Sixers fan to talk about this because the Celtics won. But I really think, you know, and the more I've heard him talk after they won and all of his appearances, I think Jason Tatum really wants to be recognized as an NBA superstar. So I don't think he's like that. I don't feel like he was that like ecstatic about that championship because I feel like he was disappointed in his own performance and then he had to celebrate the championship. But I feel like he really thinks like I could have, you know, so, you know, another year he's going to come back and maybe redeem himself. But I just feel like there was something there that he was like, yeah, we won, but fuck. You know what I mean?
Who do you think is better? Who do you think is better, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum overall?
Jason Tatum's better skill-wise.
You think so?
Yeah. Jaylen Brown got no bag at all.
Better skill-wise, but he don't got it. He don't got the it factor, though. That's why I got Jaylen Brown over him because he got the it factor.
Jaylen Brown has more of a killer instinct. Yeah, I think you're right about that. You're right about that. Tatum has a little bit of Tobias Harris in him.
Yes, that's what's holding him back. If he had Jimmy Butler in him,
he has a little bit like I'm going to shy away from contact a little bit. I'm going to lean this way.
He's playing a little soft to me, man.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown will poster somebody. That's for sure.
Yes, I feel like, and then what I like and see. Look, I don't want to give no compliments to the stinking Suns. I can't stand the Suns. We're gonna beat the brakes off y'all in the playoffs if we play y'all. We're gonna beat the brakes off y'all. But my whole thing is this: like Jaylen Brown to me, like for him to pick up Luka, you know, Luka was still getting 30-something points a game. He didn't stop. But for him to guard him and still do what he was doing on the offensive side of the ball. And he wanted Luka. There's a difference between, I'm just going to guard him. I'm probably going to get cooked by him. But he wanted him, and he made some plays, winning plays, steals, and all that. So that's why I put Jaylen Brown. Even though they want Jason Tatum to be the face of the Celtics, I truly believe the real face is Jaylen Brown. That's just my opinion. People won't probably disagree, but
you know, I think if egos don't come into play, they could stick together and be great for a long time. But I think eventually some egos are going to come into play where a player wants to be recognized as the superstar leader of his own team. And you know, you never know. In a couple of years, there could be some trades and stuff like that. But the Celtics, man, the formula is just like they got so many good two-way players, man. Derek White, the two best two-way point guards in the league. As far as like facilitating point guards and defenders is Derek White and Drew Holiday, and they're on the same team. Like that's so lethal to have. And I think Daryl Morey went into this offseason and he was like, I got to try to match that. I got to do everything I can to try to match that intensity. Oh yeah, there's Drew Holiday in a Sixers jersey. Damn.
I got this autograph.
Nice.
Drew Holiday picture, y'all, on my wall. This is when he was on the Sixers, man. Like, I'm a big I'm not a Drew Holiday supporter, you know what I mean? And
yeah, me too.
That was such a big pickup for the Boston Celtics, you know what I mean?
And such a big let go by the Bucks.
Too.
Such a big let go by the Bucks because, you know, the defense went out the window as soon as he left. And now they're screwed.
They lost something with that.
But yeah, I think Daryl Morey went into the offseason. He was like, I got to match the, you know, they got so many two-way guys. I got to at least try to match it. And he goes out there and he did everything that was possible as far as options go. So I think Daryl did the best job you could pretty much do to try to give the Sixers the best chance to knock off the Boston Celtics. I just hope we get a Sixers Celtics conference finals series, bro. It'll just be absolutely unbelievable.
No, I need that. The Sixers fans though. I gotta call out the Sixers fans. We better not let that ever happen again against any team. It don't matter if it's the Celtics, Knicks. When it comes to selling out the arena, the owners should never have to buy tickets for Sixer fans to come to the arena. There should not be. What did Stephen A. Smith say, y'all? He said blue. What did he say? Orange skies and blue skies.
That's the owner's fault.
And it's just like, why though? How did that happen?
That's the owner's fault. So the Sixers tickets in Philly are just like a fraction of the cost of tickets in New York. You know what I mean? So like I remember one summer I used to wait tables at this restaurant down here in Hershey, and like in the summer a lot of people come down from New York and Jersey for Hershey Park and stuff, right? And these dudes, these New Yorkers would come down in these like big Yukon Denali's and Escalades, and they'll drop $1,000 on dinner. They like it's like because the wages are higher, everything's more expensive in New York, so it's not even the same tier of money. So they can afford a ticket in Sixers Arena like it's chump change. So they bought them all out. You know what I mean? And we can't do the same thing.
Stop that though.
You can't really because
you can't know. You're not.
There's nothing you can do about that.
You're not going to know if they're a Knicks fan or not when they're buying the ticket.
No.
So.
At the end of the day, that was Sixers fans selling. That was season ticket holders selling their tickets and making a huge profit. You know, because they knew New Yorkers wanted their tickets. And yeah, there's just nothing you can really do about that because it can't work the other way around because you know it's so expensive to go to New York and we're not Philly's not going to take over their arena, you know what I mean? So
I know.
So that's what was funny about them celebrating it. I'm like, you're celebrating an economic like loophole. Like you didn't do anything. It's not like you broke into the stadium. It's not like Sixers fans were standing out front and you sunned everybody and walked past. Like. You took advantage of an economic imbalance, and that's nothing to brag about. That's stupid to me.
It's just like it was just like crazy because I'm like, man, like I never seen anything like that. Like when a playoff game for the Sixers and you see nothing but Knicks fans, I'm like, what the heck?
We gotta get like some celebrities from Philly to like buy a bunch of tickets or something. You know what I mean? Like, come on, Kevin Hart. Like, come on, Will Smith. Come on, like, where are you guys at? Come on, Meek Mill. Like, why aren't you guys buying out sections? You know?
Music Soul Child, what's up?
Yeah, the celebrities from Philly should have been buying out sections so the New Yorkers couldn't get them, but they didn't. They let it happen.
Yeah, that was tough. But this is it's a new beginning, and I feel like this team on paper is definitely good enough to be true contenders. Like we would say that last season, last couple of seasons, because we had Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxiell, but we have Nick Nurse now. But this is this is definitely like a team that can contend for a title. Like I feel like if we're at least a top 3 team, I don't really care about being the first seed in the Eastern Conference. I just want to be healthy going into the playoffs.
Yep.
And that's all that matters to me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Chemistry and being healthy and being at least a top 3. We better not be no 5, 6, 7, like no playing. We better be at least a top 3 team though, at the very least.
Yeah, that's I think that's everybody's realistic goal is to get to the playoffs healthy, man. Because if they get to the playoffs healthy, they can get there. They can at least get to an Eastern Conference Finals and battle the Celtics in a 7-game series. Brian says, "Good." Is that supposed to say Gershon, Gusher, Rico Suave? I don't think I even know who Rico Suave is. Ricky Council, Drummond and J Mac will be X factors. Celtics and Knicks weak as hell. Nurse, we get these boys ready. Yeah, I agree with that.
You talking about Jared McCain?
I have J Mac, Jared McCain.
That's Jared McCain. I'm assuming. Okay.
I don't know if Jared McCain is going to play really.
I don't know. I don't know about Jared McCain. I hope so. I hope they play these young dudes, man. Like I wouldn't mind seeing Bona just to see what's up with him. You know what I mean? I've seen some highlights.
He's aggressive.
He seems like he's very athletic. He seems like he's not scared, and he has very good defense. What I was seeing, I don't know if it's going to be like that in the NBA, but when I was seeing him play, he was blocking people left and right.
Yeah. So, he's a big dude, and he has a lot of aggression, and he flies to the ball, and he blocks shots with like anger, and he gets rebounds and dunks it back and tries to rip the rim off, and like, yeah, I love seeing players like that after years of watching these players that just look like they didn't really want it. You just got a bunch of guys with some fire, so I think that's what I'm most excited about. Yeah, yo, Mike Sports Vibes, thanks for coming through, my man. I appreciate it. This was fun. We'll do this again. Everybody go to Mike Sports Vibes on YouTube and check out his YouTube channel. Subscribe over there and follow all of his content. And
Thank you.
we'll have you back on the show here too also. So yeah, thanks for coming through, man. Anything else you want to say to the Sixers fans?
Man, we gonna win it, man. Let's just be optimistic, man. Let's not be ultra negative. Because like when one thing bad happens, some fans just go just like
Oh yeah.
full 360, like we're done.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like
They'll
be
go on a little
optimistic.
5-game losing streak. They'll go on a little 4 or 5 game losing streak.
It's okay. Let it play out. Let it play out. You know what I'm saying? We gotta, if you know basketball, we got a lot of talent. You know what I'm saying? So just let it play out, and we're gonna be all right. We're gonna take one game at a time. And I do play-by-play for mostly every game. So if you do go to my YouTube channel, I'm extra hype, and it's definitely going down. But I'm not going to be able to do play-by-play for all the games because I'm married and I have kids, but I will be doing play-by-play for most of the games this season. So check your boy out.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming through, man. I appreciate it again. And yeah, we'll have you back on and we'll collab again, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for coming through and hanging out with us. Hit the like button one time. Subscribe to Mike Sports Vibes. And I will talk to you all soon, you sickos. Peace.